Okay, and we are live. And I'm just going to double check my audio here if the audio is good. All right, welcome everybody to the Brain Boost podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about my kids and my experience with my kids using 40 hertz light therapy for the past year. It's actually been over a year, but where I noticed the biggest change was actually after about 10 months of use, 10, 11 months of use. And my wife started noticing a drastic change with my son and my parents. So their grandparents also noticed a drastic change happening with them as well. And so we're going to go through some of the science behind that. There's a lot of studies, in fact, on this. It's just that a lot of people haven't heard about it. So there's a lot of research that actually supports 40 hertz light benefits for brain health. And that's because it actually passes through the blood-brain barrier. I know when we were kids, we had these smart vitamins, and you even see them in Costco where you can buy vitamins that's supposed to be good for the brain. Well, actually, there's a lot of things that don't even cross through that blood-brain barrier. And although it might somehow benefit, a lot of those things don't even affect the brain, right? We know that there's certain herbs that do, and there's certain things that we can do to help out those neural pathways. But from our experience, one of the biggest changes was 40 hertz light therapy. And so I'll talk about my eldest son right now, where he was extremely shy. He had extreme adverse reactions to certain sensory stimulus. So if it was too loud, for example, he would kind of shy away at it, or it would be way too painful for him. If I remember, we went to a basketball game, and he hated the sound. It was way too painful for him, and things like, even if he would play piano, he would play it at a low volume. And one of the things that we noticed was after about a year's use, he started being okay with loud noises, to the point where he now plays his piano at like max level. And so we noticed that he is able to take in more sound without the pain of it, right? So that was one of those things. But there's a lot of different research on that. Here, the article from Scientific American, Deep Sleep Gives Your Brain a Deep Clean. So one of the things that we noticed was that he would have dreams, and he would talk about his dreams quite often. So before, every once in a while, he would have a dream, but we noticed regularly he would be dreaming, which was an indication that he was actually entering REM sleep. And so that deep sleep gives your brain a deep clean. So did this have something to do with it? Quite possibly, right? So we know that it helps you get a deep sleep, and we know that a deep sleep enables your brain to go through a cleaning process. And actually, the light as well at 40 hertz stimulates a neural cell called microglia that actually deep cleans the brain. So we see all of these different articles here, from Alzheimer's prevention to Alzheimer's treatment. You have also memory improvement, right? And that's one of the other things that we noticed with our eldest, was that his memory improved and his ability to retain information. So in school, they have things where they have to memorize poems, or they have to memorize, they have memorization tests. And before the light therapy, he wasn't really doing that well in it. But after the light therapy, he could remember things so quickly. His memorization and ability to retain short-term memory had increased drastically, to the point where now when he does those tests, he aces it. And also with his grades as well. All of his grades went up. He went from probably a C to B student, right? The occasional like D, right? So let's say B minus kind of average student, to all of a sudden he turned into an A student, right? He turned into an 80 percentile student. And then now he's actually, for the first time, a principal honor roll student. So he's hit that 90 percentile mark. One of the other things that we noticed was that he became more social. So another thing was he was starting to talk to people more, when before he really backed away from that. And that was a big breakthrough for us, because I remember taking him to, it was a Montessori, and the teacher would actually say that he's not talking at all. And I think it was for a few years, where he literally would not even say a single word to anybody. And so there was just an overwhelming stimulus for him when it came to people. He had trouble making eye contact, and he was extremely shy. Really wouldn't say anything outside of the family. He might talk to us, mom and dad, but when it came to others, he really would not say anything. And after about, a year of this treatment, we noticed that he was starting to talk to people, to the point that even the teachers would say that he's talking to everybody. And I remember, I think it was last June, where he received the most social award at school. And when he received that, for us, it was a miracle in and of itself. And we knew that this light therapy had something to do with it also. So there's a lot of things here. It could help, obviously, improving sleep is a big aspect of that, right? Getting into deep sleep, improving, cognitive functions. There's a lot of studies talking about how it improves and enhances brain rhythm, synchrony, so that the brain is operating more optimally. There's also studies on how it's protective as well, that somehow there's some neuroprotective effects on the light therapy also. And we see this especially with, the pediatric populations that are getting there in age, right? And they've done extensive studies. A lot of these studies are on Alzheimer's. But the cognitive enhancement is a big part of that. Now, how does it affect their ability to socialize? Well, they're able to take in more information, right? And they're able to arrange that information so they're not overwhelmed with it. When we have reduced gamma brainwaves, what happens is we get stimulus, and instead of finding a solution for it, because gamma brainwaves are associated with problem solving, we get overwhelmed. And when we get overwhelmed, obviously you go into fight or flight mode. And when that happens, well, additional stress. And when you're in that stress state, your brain actually cannot even function properly, right? So, and that's why I think we're seeing improved memory. That's why they're able to take in more sensory input without reacting negatively to it. And they're able to socialize, because now they're able to read people's faces more. They're able to identify what emotions. Oh, that was another thing as well, was he was able to identify which emotion that he was feeling. When before he would just kind of go into this emotion and have this huge tantrum and really flip out. And this was a regular occurrence. Literally, when he was a kid, we couldn't even go to restaurants because he would have a fit in a restaurant. And obviously it's going to bother the people around him. Even when we were with family, you could sense a little bit of tension there, because we just couldn't get him to stop, his tantrums or crying. And now he's just able to take in a lot more sensory input without reacting negatively to it, which is a miracle in and of itself. Because like I said, he used to play his piano at the lowest volume, and now he can play his piano at the highest volume. Now we have to tell him, can you please turn it down? That is way too loud. So that was just a sign that now he's able to take it in and being able to process it without it causing him too much pain. And then, to be able to identify emotions, that was a big one. And just emotional regulation, emotional self-control. And lastly, our our youngest has also been having it. And you know how we have trackers. So he's 2. And at the age of 2, he should be able to, I think, say like 1 or 2 words, or at least string together 2 words. Well, he's way beyond that. He's not only stringing together 2 words, he will actually string together 2 sentences, right? His verbal acuity is where a 5-year-old would be. And he's been having it for almost since he was born. So he's 2 years old. I think he's been having treatment for probably 1 year, and I would say probably close to 8 months. So essentially his entire life he's been having it. And I was talking to a naturopathic doctor the other day, and the theory behind that, the hypothesis behind that, is the mechanism of action is that it's able to rapid boost the brain's ability to now sort out all those things. Like when the brain is developing, especially at 2 all the way up until I think 8, 7 or 8, what's happening is that the brain is actually sorting out a lot of these tangles in the brain. So what the 40 hertz light therapy does is it speeds up that process. And I think that's why our 2-year-old, and this is just, a guess, but I think that's why our 2-year-old can basically has the verbal acuity of a 5-year-old, right? He, instead of just doing 1 or 2 words, he can actually do 1 or 2 sentences. He can full out say probably up to a 6 to 7 word sentence. And it's the rate of expansion of his vocabulary is quite incredible. And all of our friends would attest to that. A lot of the family would attest to that as well, that he's way ahead of his markers for his age. And so he's had this light treatment since he was a baby. And that's what we think it is. His emotional intelligence is extremely high as well. He's just aware emotionally of what he will say, what he will do, and the reaction it will get. We can see him kind of processing that. And at least, compared to our eldest, he's blasting past all of his milestones. So that's the result really that we've seen with our 2 kids for the past year. To be honest, they've had a lot more than 1 year, right? And the amount of treatment that they have every single day, we pretty much have it in their play area. We have it in the kitchen. We have it in their bedrooms. We even have it in the bathroom. So as long as they're awake, they're getting 40 hertz light treatment. And as long as they're home. And I even have one in the car. It's in the small form factor of this, right? There's a lot. There's some of them out there. I think there's 2, 3, or 4 companies developing these. This one at GammaCure.com, ediblelights.com, is the smallest form factor, and it's analog as well. So it doesn't have any Wi-Fi card. It doesn't have any Bluetooth card. What the naturopath actually told us was that because it doesn't have it, the radiation from the Wi-Fi cards and the Bluetooth cards doesn't combat the beneficial effects of the treatment. And so we have it at different brightnesses. We started with the low brightness, and we have it pretty much all over the house, just so people are getting treatment all the time. It's portable enough to just plug in to USB to have in the car. So we have it in the car as well. And yeah, it's been amazing. Some of our friends are trying it as well with their kids, and we're excited to see the results because we've seen incredible results through this. Another thing that I want to share is that before, he would never really want to go up in a crowd in front of anybody. But since we started using this, every single time I preach or I'll teach at different churches, and now what we do is that he will go up there and he will actually recite a Bible verse. And that's something that we could not get him to do before. But now he's more than willing to do that. So the fact that he is able to overcome that, and not only overcome it, but enjoy the process of that, has been nothing short of a miracle. So yeah, that's our experience with our kids. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. These ones we get from GammaCure.com, ediblelights.com, and they're engineered at exactly 40 hertz. I know that they're developing also 40 hertz and 20 hertz. That's mainly for focus, but what we've been using really is the 40 hertz. So there you guys have it. This is the Brain Boost podcast. I know it's a quick one today because actually there's snow outside and the kids have not gone tobogganing all year. So this is our chance, probably our last chance. It is spring, but there's snow, and this is their last chance to go tobogganing and enjoy that. So we're going to go and do that right now. Well, I hope that you've learned a lot from this. If you have, please let us know in the comments down below. And if you're using light therapy, specifically 40 hertz light therapy for your kids, would you let us know also the results you're getting? Because a lot of people don't know about this, and we just want to educate as many people as we can. This is something that can help their brain tremendously. I think as long as they don't have epileptic seizures, because I think those that are prone to epileptic seizures via light frequency, that might be something that you'll need to consult a doctor. Again, this is not medical advice. This is just, our experience with this. But I hope that you have learned from it. You can do your own research. There's plenty of research online that you can look up. And I know this is just some of them. We didn't go through some of these sensory evoked research here as well, but there's quite a lot of research out there. Even Andrew Huberman is using it, right? He's using it for memory and I think emotional regulation, if that's right. But he's talking about also how the 40 hertz he's using binaural beats, and the benefit of not using binaural beats and using the light is it works through the optical nerve, through the visual cortex, and stimulates the brain that way. Because with binaural beats, I can't have the kids walk around with headphones all day, right? But with this, it's just passive treatment, and they're just able to get the benefits from it without having to wear headphones, unlike if you were to use something like sound frequency therapy. The light frequency therapy, I feel, is a lot easier to use. So there you guys have it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is the Brain Boost podcast with Vince Revo, and we hope that you are well. Have a great day. Have a great morning. Have a great afternoon. Have a great evening wherever you are. And until next time, we will see you again. Bye for now.